What's up, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon. I'll wait for you guys to join. I'm so excited for today. I can't wait. Where's everyone joining from? Hello, everyone. I've got such a fun episode today. Where are you guys joining from? I want to hear. But today, as you guys join, how often do you get to actually sit down and talk to someone who's 103 years old and pick their brain and ask them the most epic questions that you've always wanted to know? Well, today, guys, is your opportunity that you can ask any question you like to my girl, Gladys. Now, if you don't know Gladys, oh my God, she is 103 years old and she wrote a book at 102, I think she wrote the book. It is insane. And so I'm going to be bringing her on in a minute. She's going to be joining. So get your questions ready, guys, because when I first met Gladys about a year ago, I was just blown away by her. I was blown away by her spirit, her energy, her vibe, and the fact that she still has such a thirst for life. And growing up, everybody I'd ever met, in fact, my grandmother, when I was growing up, every time she would say goodbye to me, we would leave Cyprus. So I'd go see my grandmother. We'd stay in the village for like 2 months or something. And every time I would say goodbye to her, the thing that she would say to me, little old Lisa, imagine I'm like 10 years old. She would turn around and say, well, you should say goodbye right now because I'm probably going to die. So growing up, my whole grandmother's attitude was always just that she was waiting to die. And what I love is the new world, you guys, what I stand for is how the hell do you live a life full of energy, full of excitement? And I lived 8 years of my life not living the life I actually wanted. I never spoke up. I never said that I was unhappy. I was completely stuck. And the important thing that Gladys is going to teach us is what to do to have zero regrets. So get your questions ready because, yes, she's 103. Oh, she's still not here yet. So Gladys, if you're watching, or Gladys and Gladys family, if you're watching, there's a little video camera, a little video icon at the bottom. If you press it and then request to join, I can join you or I can bring you on. Bear with us, guys. We're trying to figure out how to bring Gladys on. So Gladys, like I said, is 103 years old. She wrote a book about how to thrive, the things that you want in life, so that you don't have any regrets. So I've actually interviewed her twice now. The first interview I did over Zoom, and then the second interview I flew to her because the opportunity to sit with someone that's 103, a woman who can actually teach me the wisdom that she has learned over these years. Oh, sorry, the name of the book is The Well-Lived Life. A 103-year-old doctor's 6 secrets to health, happiness, and every age. So she's going to be coming on. I'm just waiting for Gladys to join so you guys will get to ask her any question you like. So when you think about wisdom, this woman has it in troves. She's so freaking witty. She's right there. Still waiting for her. Guys, if you are watching, Mason off camera, I don't know if you can try and track them down, please, because they're not here. So I just want to make sure everything's okay. So what is your passion? Okay, that's definitely one that we can definitely ask. And so, like, I'm just going to buy a bit of time until she joins. So how to find momentum in life. I love that. So, guys, if you actually see there's a question mark at the bottom. If you click that, you can actually type your question so that I can bring it in as a sticker. So if you see the little question mark, if you don't mind typing it in there, but I can just keep reading until Gladys joins us. What is Gladys's passion? I've got a great first question that I'm definitely going to ask her about forgiveness. I actually do. So I just interviewed her. I went to her house. I interviewed her in person. Just launched that episode last week on Women of Impact. And one of them is like, how do you forgive and forget? And one of the biggest regrets that people have on their deathbed is that they haven't forgiven. They haven't let go of the things that they actually held on to. So the episode that I did with Gladys was all about how to, and again, I'm just waiting for Gladys. No answer yet? Nothing. Have you DM'd them? Sorry, guys. I'm in real time. I'm just talking to my team. Mason's over there, bless him. So am I going to save this live stream? Love at 53. Yes, I will be saving this live stream. We actually then release the audio on my podcast. So if you're ever interested and you watch one of these lives, you can always go over to Women of Impact on the podcast and you can listen to it there. But yeah, the interview that I just did with her are the regrets people have on their deathbed. Because for me, I live a very, let's say, honest and realistic life. And what I mean by that is I process the fact that I'm going to die soon. I process the fact that my husband's going to die soon. But I don't think of it from a negative. And when I say soon, by the way, I mean the next 50 years. But when I think about death, I think of like, how do I make sure that I actually live? That I spend my life living like to the most like nth degree. And so I was so curious on what the things that people regret when they're on their deathbed, because it's too late. Let's face it, when you're 103, God bless Gladys, but maybe she wants to go skydiving. Mate, it's probably a little too late at 103. So again, just waiting for Gladys. They're not actually accidentally live, are they? Have you checked?
McKay's checking on it right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you not go on Instagram and just check on her?
I'm recording yours. So
oh, okay. So, sorry guys, you just see me in real time trying to juggle the live stream, messaging my team, and then also trying to be present with you guys. I agree. I don't feel life or death. So anyone ever watched the movie Shawshank Redemption? And in that movie, it said you get busy living or you get busy dying. Now, for me, I get busy living, but that means I need to know all the things that I may not realize at this age, and I may not realize it until 20, 30 years. I don't want to wait till my deathbed. So what I asked is I really said, oh, Mel's here. What up, Mel Abrams in the house? Oh, I love you, Mel. So one thing that that I asked her is all the things that people regret in life when they're on their deathbed, so that she can give us advice and feedback, so that we never get to that point, so that we can actually go through the regrets in real time while we probably still have, hopefully, the energy and the bandwidth to then do it. And so we touch on love and relationships, business, career, education was a big thing that a lot of people regret. As in, like, they either got educated on something they actually didn't like, or they got educated and they never put it to use. So just really thinking through the different areas of that where people regret. And it's like, I really don't want to live with regret. So I'm doing so many episodes on like how to make sure that I don't. And so I actually just interviewed also a death doula. If you don't know what a death doula is, I really hope that we all get death doulas now, because they are incredible people. And so that interview actually hasn't come out. Her name's Allure Arthur. And so I just did that interview like last week or something. And I'm still biding time. Gladys, I don't know if you guys are there. Let me just double check to see. Oh, Gladys is here. We have you, Gladys. All right, guys. And when I say I've never done one remote interview, guys, one traveled interview, except for Gladys. She was the first person that Gladys!
There we are. There you are, and here I am.
Can you hear me, Gladys? Good to see you.
Yes, hi. Good to see you too.
I
And
have.
and we went through an eclipse today.
We did. It's been quite. How many eclipses have you seen in your life, Gladys?
How many years have I lived?
How many eclipses?
How many
I know.
eclipses?
It's that many.
Yes, that many.
103.
I was just telling everybody, Gladys, that at 103, you are incredibly wise. And I sat with you and came to your house, and you generously gave me space to be able to ask you any questions. And so we spoke about love and relationships, career, education. And I'm going to start with a question of mine. And everybody watching right now, Gladys, is asking questions. I'm going to read some out for you. But I want to start with my own selfish question that I didn't get to ask you, Gladys. So when I sat with you, you said that you have a 10-year plan.
Yes.
So I just want everyone, first of all, to hear that you're 103 and you've got a 10-year plan. And what you said to me in the interview was, I live like I've got another 10 years, but I take one day at a time. But I didn't ask you what your 10-year plan was.
Well, my dream is, and my plan is, that within this next 10 years, a village for living medicine will be created where people, and any place around the world where people choose to do this, is to find a village, a place where you and your community live the way you want to live, with love and healing and hope, so that every time anybody steps onto that property, they begin to feel the healing energy of that very essence of Earth herself and all the things that grow upon her. So it's that kind of a creative uh, energy in a place, wherever that place be, however it grows into, so that it becomes a village for living medicine.
I love that so much, Gladys. Now, as you were giving your answer, a lot of people here are saying they don't even have a 1 week plan. What would you say to people that don't have a plan, and why do you think it's so important for you to have a plan?
It's for me, it's important because I want to know what I'm doing. I don't want to just walk out the door and think, now, which way am I going? What am I, I want to have a direction. I want to be in charge of what's going on in my life. And if I don't have some idea of what it is that I'm planning to do today, or what I'm planning to do within the next hour or so on, then it's okay for me to take a time to rest, because
Mm.
time to rest is doing something. If I take a time to rest, then it's not that I'm not doing anything. The time I have to tell patients this. I tell them they need to go home and get some rest.
Mm.
And they say, well, I have so much to do. Well, getting time for rest is part of what I would suggest that you take time to do.
I
So that,
love that so much.
yeah, so that you know what it is that you're doing.
That's incredible. I love that. Like, all right, I just want to pause to let everybody know that you've written a book, Gladys. And what we spoke about when I came to you and I saw you is that you said that you didn't find your voice until you were 93. And when I asked you what you are doing with your voice, you said, well, I finally wrote a book that is about me. And so I just want people to go out, get your book. It is now on paperback. This is your wisdom, all written. Guys, honestly, go support Gladys. She just told you her dream. I want to see that dream come true,
Oh,
Gladys. And I am going to be
thank
your
you.
biggest cheerleader to make sure that that dream comes true. So, guys, every single one of you watching right now, go support this woman and her dream and her message. She literally has the 6 secrets to life. So, go get her book. And now I want to read you then a question, Gladys, from one of the people watching right now. So they asked, this was Linda Woods. She asks, how do you let go of resentment?
Of resentment,
Yeah.
it's a choice. You make the choice either to hang on to that resentment or to let it go, and realize that what you're resenting is the other person's problem, not yours. If you're taking her problem on as part of your trip and what you have to deal with, then you hang on to it. But if you realize that you're resenting something that he has said or done or is or become or whatever, that's his problem, not yours. You may have pointed it out to him, you may have discussed it with him or her or whoever, and they're still hanging on to it. And then you get angry because they're not paying attention to what it is that you see they should be doing, and they are not doing what you see they should be doing. So your shoulds are not becoming their shoulds. If their shoulds become your, it's that of a kind of a little trap that we get into.
It's so true that it becomes a trap, and resentment's one of those things that it starts to deteriorate you and how you feel. And one of the stories that you shared when I came to visit you was that your ex-husband, and you had been married almost 40 years, and he then asked for a divorce. And the fact that you were able to let go and not have resentment towards him, obviously you had to go through the process, but the fact that you didn't stay resentful, that you didn't stay angry, talk to me a little about that, and then how letting go of that actually helped you live instead of the opposite.
Yeah, we had lived 46 years. We had created the American Holistic Medical Association. We had created the ARE clinic. We had given birth to six wonderful children, et cetera, et cetera. We had, for 46 years, we had done this work together. And then he pops up with divorce papers. I couldn't believe it. I was so broken. I was so shattered. I had no way to put anything in context. And I was coming back home to a house that was going to be empty except for my dog. And I was driving down the freeway, and I was so broken and so ugly and so angry and so everything else. I was screaming and yelling in the car. Nobody could hear me, thank God. And it was a mess. I was a mess. The car was a mess. Everything was broken and shattered, and nothing made any sense, and all of that kind of stuff I was going on. Nothing made any sense. And suddenly I pulled over to the side of the road, and I stopped, and I looked at myself, and I said, "You're a mess. This is awful. Are you going to live the rest of your life like this?" And I thought, "Ooh, no way," because it was uncomfortable. It was mean. It was awful. And I thought, I know I don't want to live this way. And the voice, or some words came into my head that were, "This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." So there I was, standing by the side of my car, and these words were sort of etched into my brain, and it was my name, "Be glad." And so I thought, well, all right, you have a choice. You either go on with this mess that you're working with now, or you're going to step forward and find out what it is to be glad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went home, and I explained this to my dog. And then I went into the next day, changed my license plate to say "Be glad." Not just a number, but it said "Be glad." So for 60 years, I drove around Phoenix so that every time I went out to my car, I had to see that. And all the time I was driving, people behind me had to see it. So I had a message to give to people that was my message to me so that I could give it to other people.
I love that story so much, Gladys, because your strength and your bravery to not choose a different path, because in those moments of heartbreak, it is easier to lean into the heartbreak. It is easier, and it's hard to deal with, but the fact that you didn't just play the victim role, you didn't spend the rest of your life having resentment for him, because that could have, like, I can't see you. When I met you, you've got such a thirst for life, and I can't imagine you would have a thirst for life if you'd held on to that resentment of your
Oh,
ex-husband.
I couldn't have, I mean, it would, it would shorten my life a great
Mm.
deal because I absolutely, it was awful, you know. And the fact of the matter is that now, uh, well, after I actually came to that decision, I was able to write him a letter and say, thank you for giving me my freedom. Because prior to that, everything that I knew was Bill and Gladys. Bill and Gladys, that's their office, Bill and Gladys, you know. Now it was Gladys.
Mm.
And I had to face up to the fact that I was responsible for what Gladys did and what she was feeling and how she was going to go on with it. And I felt free. I felt like, okay, now I can really make some decisions for myself and go and do what I need to do.
It is incredibly inspiring, Gladys, because again, anyone, you have a choice in that moment, and for you to know that that wouldn't have served you, and the fact that then you wrote him a letter and thanked him,
Yeah,
like it is your bravery, your strength, your wisdom is incredible, Gladys. And I don't know if you realize how hard and rare that action is for people to take, but I really hope people listening have as much grace within themselves to be able to let go so that you can have the life you want. Because if you hadn't done that, you would, like you even said, it probably would have shortened your life. And so that the fact that it didn't shorten your life, the fact that it allowed you now to finally find your voice and then have a voice that you have now written in your book. So I'm just going to read this out because everyone's saying it's backwards. So it's called The Well-Lived Life by Dr. Gladys McGarry. And so that is where she's poured her heart, her wisdom all into this book, guys. If you're watching this live right now, you know I don't push things very hard, but I'm telling you, you've got to go and buy this book right now. Let's see this get to number one. Gladys, we want to support you. Your advice is so incredible.
thank you.
Do you still have a few minutes? Are you okay answering a
I'm
few more questions?
absolutely,
Amazing.
absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to pull up a few more questions. Um, let's have a look. Let's have a look.
I'm so glad you do this. You know, this is a huge job, and it's wonderful that you're doing this.
Thank you, Gladys. I get to be in presence of people like yourself, so it is honestly, truly my honor. Okay, so we have another question. Oh, this is from McKay. That's so funny. I know McKay. I had no idea he asked this question. How do you deal with loss and not let it weigh you down?
Remember what that loss is. Remember how, see, my oldest daughter died of breast cancer when she was 58. And she was the most wonderful person. She was the kind of person, when she walked into a room, everybody knew that she had come in. She had that kind of energy. She was the kind of, when she was 3 years old, she was trying to tie her shoelace, and I went to help her, and she stomped her little foot and wagged her ponytail and said, I'd rather do it mine own self. And I said, oh, okay. And I backed away, and pretty soon she wasn't able to do it. So she puts her head back and wags her little ponytail, and she says, if you ever help me now. I remember those things about her. They're so real. They're so alive still in my heart and in my life, that she is still alive in my life. She has made her transition. She's been gone a long time, but my, oh my, she is still my Analia. She's my gem. I treasure this, and nobody can take that from me. Nobody can take my memory from me. And any time that I choose, I can think about who and what she meant to me, and still does. I have to, I tear up when I start thinking about her because of who she was in my life. So if somebody dear to you has to move on into the other dimension. Don't feel that they are gone from you. They've just moved into another space where you can access them in any way that you need to, because we're still living, and life and love have to live together, and they have to move together in order to be alive. And that's what we're talking about.
Oh, Gladys, you had me all, every time I speak to you, Gladys, you have me in tears. And everybody else was just responding of how beautiful that was put, and to feel your heart and the weight of it, but for it to not hold you down, and to be able to say in such a beautiful way. Again, you just like, you're I think the only person that can make me cry, but from like happiness, in this way, because it's heartbreaking what you're talking about, but you see it in such a positive light. And I think it's very hard to see heartbreak in such a positive way.
Unless you choose to.
Oh, yeah.
But if you choose to, it's the way to do it, because it makes it a livable thing. It's still alive, you know? It's still a thing about the person or the incident or whatever that you choose to keep alive. I don't bring up all the other stuff that I don't want to about what my daughter did or said or whatever. Those aren't, I don't even remember them. What I
Mm.
remember is what I choose to remember.
I like that you choose to remember things. I think that that's so important. I very much think of anything that happens as a memory. Like right now, what I'm doing right this second will become a future memory. So if it's a future memory, how do I want to look back at this moment? And so I kind of think of it in that sense, and it allows me
Right,
to reorient from a positive standpoint.
right, right. Because the gems of memories, and I call it memory lane.
Mm,
And at night when I can't sleep, I go down memory lane and revisit these amazing gems of memory that I have, that I can still relive and work with, because nobody's going to take those away from us.
yeah, that's so true. Okay, I got another question for you. This I is from Pre the Mindset Boss. The question is, what is your key to living with intentionality and being present?
Just that. Think of what you just said. Living with intentionality. I want to know what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it. And if I'm doing that, then that's it.
Then you're present.
Yes.
That's amazing. What do you hope people take away from the book? What was, when you were writing it, what was the mission for that specifically?
It was to reactivate the understanding that we each have a purpose, and each one of us is essential to the working of the whole world. It's like the whole world is a big jigsaw puzzle, and we are a piece in that jigsaw puzzle.
Mhm.
If you ever made a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and one piece was missing, it drives you crazy to try and find that one piece, because that's the way it is. We are essential to what's happening in the world today. You and I, what we're doing is absolutely essential to what other people are hearing and how they're picking it up, and what they're doing with what we're saying. Da 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 da. On it goes.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, everyone keeps asking this question, Gladys, so I have to ask you, what is your daily diet? Everyone wants to know what you eat.
I'm not going to tell you, because I want you to know that you need to eat what you need to eat. I have a son who doesn't like garlic, and the rest of my kids like garlic. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to eat. Find out what works for you.
But
If
you
and
still like your chocolate, right, Gladys?
oh, sure, you betcha. I like chocolate and I like a piece of cake and I like some ice cream, but I don't dwell on those. I have them when I want them. So it's not something that I'm are essential to what I am doing and how I'm growing and whatever's going on. There are things that I choose to have periodically. I choose to have raisin bran and prunes for breakfast just because I do, but sometimes I choose oatmeal and sometimes, and sometimes I choose eggs. It just depends on what the day brings. And so I choose and then I eat what I have available and what my sons can fix for me now.
What it sounds like though is that you don't stress about what you're going to eat like people do in today's society.
No, I have had patients who actually almost kill themselves, but by really hating what they think that they should be eating. They're eating something because some doctor or some friend or somebody said that it was essential for them to eat that. And they're saying to themselves, I hate this stuff, but I need to eat it. Well, you know, think about that.
It's not the very enjoyable life, right?
No, yeah.
Amazing. Okay, just want to make sure that if people all know that you've written an amazing book, Gladys, they can go and buy it right now. It's called The Well-Lived Life, a 103-year-old doctor's 6 secrets to health and happiness at every age. Guys, if you're watching this, go buy this book. I'm telling you, not regret it. Let's help get Gladys to #1. Gladys, this is such an incredible book. The way you have served the community, for people to just go back into your story, the fact that you were a doctor and the amount of people that you've helped in your life, and now at your age that you're able to write this book is just an incredible testament to the value your life, how you show up. The fact that you're on Instagram doing this live is incredible,
Thank
Gladys.
you. Thank you. You made it possible.
Is there any last words that you would like to say to anybody watching right now?
Yes, don't give up unless you choose to give up. There are times when you're just tired. Maybe you need to choose, but you don't have to. The You can find something that could make you want to live another day, want to live another year, another 10 years, whatever. But make some active, wonderful choices that help the world and help you.
People are saying in the comments that they want you to have a ministry, Gladys. I think we would all go and watch you preach.
Oh dear. I have my second son is a preacher, so he'll take
There
that.
you go. There you go. Well, Gladys, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, if you want more
Thank
of
you.
me and Gladys, I did just release our interview with her last week. So if you're on YouTube, go to YouTube and watch my interview with her, Women of Impact, or go to podcast and we have that on audio as well. And then, guys, just one more time, let's give Gladys and let's show her some love. Let's go buy some books. Let's go spread this around. And the book really you can give to anyone in your life at any age. That's one of the things I absolutely loved about it, Gladys. Apart from the fact that you've got so many powerful tools, you can give it. I was talking to my 70-year-old mother about your book, and then I was also talking to my friends who are in their 30s. So anyone can benefit from this because you truly do give so many gems to how to live a well-lived life.
Thank you. Thank you. You have become my community.
Gladys. I just want to say thank you again. I
Thank you.
simply adore you. You mean so much to me, and every second I get to spend with you is a true honor and a
Thank
blessing.
you. And for me too. Right back at you.
Oh, thank you, Gladys. You take care and love to the family. Bye,
Back to you.
everyone. Bye, Gladys.
Bye.
Bye.